Drugs. Drugs are chemicals that are used by our bodies to treat diseases and to alter our emotions. They are freely found in nature in the form of plants. They are illegally harvested and concentrated to be sold to people by shady sellers called drug dealers. They are highly priced because they are highly prized. The same or similar chemicals found in the illegal plants are produced in legal factories by the pharma industries. The products follow a very long process that is very profitable for many. They are named, packaged, and marketed to doctors who prescribe them so that their patients can buy them in expensive stores called drugstores that claim to sell a pill for every ill. Drugs are very powerful and many are promoted to help man in coping with the stresses that befall him. Cocaine from the coca beans and its milder cousin caffeine from the coffee beans give man the necessary perseverance so that he can work as hard and as long as he is forced to work by numbing his aches and pains. Sugar, found in most fruits, sweetens his embittered life and gives him a temporary energy kick to make him momentarily stronger than he really is. Alcohol, the excretions of bacteria from the sugars they eat, is very intoxicating. It makes man feel stronger and happier than he really is. Nicotine, found in the tobacco plant, relaxes man, making him feel more like smoked meat than the burned out one that he really is. All of these drugs are expensive and are very physically addictive, requiring more and more of it with each use. When man becomes addicted to drugs, his body craves the drugs as much as it craves air to breathe, water to drink, and food to eat. The craving is so intense that man ends up doing anything to get the drugs, including abandoning the family he loves and getting into crime and prostitution so that he can finance his addiction. Addiction, like the hen that lays golden eggs, provides pharma businesses with a very reliant customer base and a very reliable profit margin, their one and only mandate. Cannabis, the fruit of the marijuana plant that once grew everywhere, was promoted for thousands of years because it gives people a let-it-be attitude that turns into a carefree attitude that can be easily changed into an I don't care attitude. That attitude keeps people passively and peacefully drifting down the river in whatever direction it is made to flow, whether through rapids of war or through the marshes of regrowth. Marijuana is a hardy plant harvested for its hardy fibers, for weaving quality fabrics and ropes, and for its medical benefits for ailments like nausea, insomnia, glaucoma, asthma, and pain. When the manufacture of synthetic fabrics and ropes became technically possible, and the manufacture of synthetic medicines became profitable, the marijuana plant suddenly became an unwanted weed. Because cannabis was not physically addictive, and because growing, harvesting, and processing cannabis was possible without sophisticated equipment, schools, or diplomas, the plant lost all of its interest as a profit-producing crop. The ruling elite controlling the politicians knew that to progress and leap ahead for the benefit of civilizations as well as for their own bank accounts, people needed to be prescribed a different drug to change their attitude from an I don't care to a yes, I can one. So they outlawed cannabis and pushed the consumption of addictive drugs like sugar, alcohol, caffeine, nicotine, and codeine. Within a few generations, many steps forward were made by many individuals, resulting in great leaps for mankind. Each leap was used by others as a start for other leaps. Within a few decades, man was able to leap to the moon and to the stars beyond. Music was another drug that drove man to leap, but not to the highest, furthest, or most lucrative place, but to the most beautiful one. In the middle of the 18th century, superstar musicians entertaining kings gradually started to stretch their wings. Some found a degree of freedom that beckoned them on to heights never before reached. Haydn was one of the first to carve out roads still used by pioneers, breaking new ground in the music scene. With the push and tug of Mozart, Beethoven, and Strauss, Liszt took these steps a leap further. He used music from gypsies singing and dancing around campfires under the glittering stars. He adapted this music to be played in golden-walled concert halls under glittering chandeliers to be heard by kings. This new feeling of freedom that this new music gave the people was enough to incite them to demand and fight for their political freedom with their lives. Music allowed people to say to many anything that they wanted and needed to say. Music was seen to be such a powerful mover of men that it was eventually used by the ruling elite to move men in directions they wanted them to move, like Pied Piper did. LSD, found in some mushrooms, is a very promising drug for the future. It has great promise as it can be synthetically produced in sophisticated laboratories and can be sold with a great profit. It provides man a virtual temporary enlightenment and escape from the dark reality he is enslaved by. The only problem at the present for the pharma industries is that LSD is not physically addictive, but with more research they will one day solve that problem. Then they will proudly offer man the freedom to virtually fly beyond the stars, or to wherever his imagination leads him to, without ever having to leave the security of his locked cage.